Take that, you sucker. You dirty, filthy animal. As you can see, it's been a while. Waiting for some gas and adapter to hook up the gauges there that the car's now become a cup holder. But I also have some very bad news regarding this beauty over here. Come on over, check it out. We found some a little bit of decomposition here happening, and this area was a little eaten up originally, and I cut a bunch out and welded it and stuff, and you know, the rest of it looks real nice, but for some reason we just got an issue here. So I got some chrome moldings we're going to put in here that come to this line. I'm going to try and dig all this out and treat it, do the best I can. I have some touch-up paint, so I'll match it, and hopefully that should be good. But otherwise, welcome back to the beautiful state of Texas. Another hot, sultry day, and my C7 project. Last time we left, we had a bunch of stuff taken apart. Steering box, rack and pinion was out. Tried to fix it, couldn't, it's bent, so I did find a new one, just the shaft itself. No electric motors or tie rod ends, so I'm going to be able to switch all that stuff over. We got our frame horns all lined up the way they need to be, with the hood getting aligned to the fender and everything, so it's all looking really good. I test fit the wheelhouse on over there. I can show you that. And as far as that goes, everything pretty much fit up really nice and tight, snug, and lines up exactly where it all was before. I had some major issues with this bracket that the oil sump tank mounts to, and turns out I had one of the wrong. This bracket here was wrong. It wasn't the right angle, so I had to swap it over with my old one, and I had to bend it back the way it should have been because it was wrong. The one on the back was right, but for some reason this one was different, and it was throwing the whole thing off. But we got it correct now, bolted up. This lines up with the hood, bumper, and everything. Looking wonderful. So we can glue that on as soon as we get these frame horns here welded. So we got to snake this back off, and then we got our awesome 10 or 15 or 20-year-old snap-on welder here, and we're going to try and weld on the old oil tank because it's got some cast and some other aluminum here, and we'll try and see what we can do. So I got my 100% argon, we got some extra large tips, and we got our aluminum wire. So I got to pull the old wire through, hook that up, and I'm going to start practicing, see how I do, and then we'll put it to use in the real world here. I mean, all in all, it doesn't have to be like, you know, anything crazy. I'm really surprised that these weren't just bolted on. Just really bizarre decision in my mind, yeah, that's pretty much the update around here. Also, I've been working on my house a lot. Found some rotten wood on the old backside there. Had to tear tons of the place apart, get it all fixed. That really sucked, but I'm ready. I'm back on the car here. Can't wait to get the steering rack in there and get all this stuff welded and get that wheelhouse panel glued on so I can start like mounting the new fender and, you know, really get this thing going. So hope you're excited. I am. Let's do it. Well, boys and girls, that's pretty much it. Like Vanna White, I will show you how I did. You know, we had to scuff this one down. It was a little high because I think the wheelhouse panel kind of sits over it flush, so just want to make sure it was good. But you know, laid a couple dimes there. Not the worst, not the best for my first time, but I think that'll do. You know, I'm just gonna wipe her down real nice with some wax and grease remover. Hit it with some paint and primer think that should be a pretty good match. It's kind of a glossy satin, I would say, but we'll see how my satin matches there. Should be good enough, or pretty good. And from there we can move on to the wheelhouse panel. Super awesome. Really excited that worked. Didn't go through any tips on the welder or anything. I did back weld the tip into, or the wire into the tip once, and was able to just sand the top of it and get it to clean out, and didn't plug it again. I was really surprised because everybody says, you know, you can't weld with one of these aluminum wire because it's so soft and everything, but just followed the tips some fellow YouTubers made and turned out great. I'm stoked. Okay, so on the driver's side, we also had a couple of the welds were cracked, only on this side, basically facing the passenger side, so I was able to get those welded too. Looks good. Well, I guess that's going to be our finished product. I'd say that looks pretty freaking slick. So, moving on. Who's ready for some 3M panel bond and this wheelhouse panel? I know I am, but we're gonna have to wait till tomorrow. It's dinner time. I'm hungry, you know? Can't just work like a slave all day long. So I got my panel bond here with our mixing tip. Never used one of these before. I've never used this panel bond before. I don't know how runny it is or how thick. I mean, it looks awfully thick on here, but we'll just have to see how it goes. I've got this old piece here, the bracket, just to kind of use as a template to see how and where I should be putting this stuff, and I guess we'll just go ahead and cock this bad boy. She comes out pretty easily, but this might take 6 or 7 years to get it all out. They had a lot on here. Like a celebrity death match. Let's get it on! got this set finally. All this welding complete. Steering rack is going to be here tomorrow. Get that put in, and I just got to strap this down, put some equal pressure on it, get it to hold exactly where we need it, and need to sit for about 24 hours. So tomorrow we can take that off, slap the steering rack back in, finally test fit the fender on here, make sure that all looks good with the hood and everything, and by George, I'll tell you, I think even Donald Trump would be proud. So we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, we're back a lot sooner than anticipated. I guess I had a moment of clarity, or just an idea. Don't know if it'll work, but I got all kinds of straps holding this thing down, and hammers and screwdrivers and all kinds of stuff, just getting it wedged into place. And the fender area basically looks pretty much openly exposed. So I thought it would be a good time to just try and test fit the fender on now, make sure everything is going to be at least close, and that way we're not kicking ourselves once this booger goop dries, because yeah, it's just like if you get a really nice wet booger, that's the consistency of this stuff. I don't think they use that at the factory. It definitely seems a lot thicker and more durable. I don't know, not so runny. This stuff is running all over the floor. I had to keep wiping it up and shoving it in there. So without further ado, I will grab the fender and we will do what we do. Alright, so as you can see, the back isn't mounted, but it's up flush where it should be. Everything's pretty close. Got a lot of adjustment here. We're a little high, so I can probably adjust the hood up, but we're pretty darn close. So I'm happy with that. Hey, what's up guys? Another beautiful day in paradise here. And we got some box of parts, so let's go ahead and open them up. And this should be our rack and pinion. See how good it is. Looks like they got it double boxed. Use our knife and our giant muscles to tear it open. Let's just hope it's not damaged. Looks like a giant snow-covered Twinkie. You know, I really can appreciate when somebody takes pride in their packaging, you know? You just don't see that every day. Ta-da! What a thing of beauty. What a sight for sore eyes. First thing, we want to, you know, get a wrench on this and check and make sure that it's, you know, going to oscillate both directions. And check the trueness. So upon first inspection, shafts look straight. Also got a new boot and a new outer tie rod for this side. And we already put a new inner tie rod on this side, so we'll have to swap that out and get rid of this outer tie rod because it's all floppy. It's not supposed to be that loose and dangerous. And my belt in here was a little messed up, so I'm kind of glad this was like the perfect unit for me here. You know, missing everything that I got, and got a good deal on it. So we'll need to unplug this motor, take 3 bolts off, swap it in here, get it mounted on the belt. We may have to loosen the whole thing up to make sure we get the belt just perfectly lined up. And but first I'm gonna grab a wrench, throw it on here, make sure this thing turns right, and then we'll move forward. Oh, you know, I could just pop bubble wrap all day long, but I wouldn't get anything done that way. Well, it appears to be working nice and easy and smooth. So that's a good sign, folks. Let's carry on. Well, I'm just making sure that my O-ring is staying where it needs to be and getting all these smoothly installed. Heck, I say that looks like a finished product right there. Just need to tighten those up. And this little guy, cinch her down a little, snap it in. Good to go. There's a ton of room in the vehicle here. Without this is the hood support slash sway bar bracket. Without that in there, there's tons of space to get the boot and tie rod on. And when I took the old one out, it was so hard getting it out of there. So I'm just gonna leave those off and go ahead and slam this puppy up in there just like so. Might be easier to put this end on because nothing's really gonna be in my way. It's kind of this end that, you know, you got the steering shaft and tie rods and everything in the way. It's pretty tough with the ABS sensor too, is like right here, so, or ABS box, I mean. So we might just go ahead and leave that side off, put this side on, and slam it in like that. Well, before we get too carried away, now that I put this on, I better make sure that this thing's still working proper. Goes all the way. Man, that's a fast steering ratio, you know? It's like a, I don't know, half a turn or full turn, lock to lock. She's ready to rip. Alrighty then. So we got all the electronics hooked back up. Airbox, intake, everything plugged in. All the suspension, sway bars, radiator support, our steering box, our dog. We got ABS bracket mounted back in. Everything's pretty much back how it should be. So test now would be, for some reason the window just keeps rolling itself down, but we're gonna see if this sucker will start up after its hibernation. Let's see if this steering is gonna work. That's the big test. Clutch in, ignition. Oh, I believe the battery may be too dead. Ho, 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 maybe not. Woo! Alright, don't get too excited. Well, that felt like it worked. And that felt like it worked. Let's see how sharp it's going. Alright, well, I'd say that looks good, mates. And the next thing's gonna be getting all the wheels put back on, and that way we can drive this thing out of here, because I don't have enough room to open the door on that side, and I need to be able to get to the inner fender bolts there so I can mount those up, make sure everything's good to go there. So that way we can, you know, close the hood for real, make sure everything is 100% good to go before we move on to other things, because, you know, this thing, it moves around a bit and should be able to get to where we need it. And it doesn't help that the lower whatever rocker panel here, it's all jacked up and it's not glued on anymore, so we need to re-glue that down and fix a couple cracks on it. That way, because the fender kind of bolts onto that as well, so we'll carry on with that tomorrow. Come on now, Baldy. Let's go for one last ride. What is up and good morning. Things are going great for me here. back out of the barn here. Steering's working beautifully, you know. Got a few cosmetic blemishes still to work through, but hey, we're making some real progress. So let's celebrate. Well, we'll try. We'll give it our best shot. Well, now that I got this thing real filthy, dirtier than my room when I was 9 years old, it's about time to wash it. All right, well, that's going to be a wrap for this session, and got everything clean, so it'll be a lot nicer to take it apart this time around. And next we'll be going over ripping this back bumper off, swapping that quarter panel out, and I'm waiting on some more panel bonds so we can try and fix the cracks in the rocker panel, get that glued back on. But I'd like to thank you for watching. Please like and share if you loved it, and we'll see you next time. Peace.